Hey everyone, Jenny here with New Normal Connections. Tonight, I know the last interview that we did with Caleb. We decided that we were going to need to break it up and do a few sessions with him. Initially, I had planned to take tonight and interview him. However, the next part that we're going to be talking about does include Stephanie. Stephanie will have her own time, her own interview. She'll talk herself, but I thought it was important for her to come in on this and weigh in on this because they were together for most of the time that he was using. So this is Caleb and this is Stephanie, Caleb's girlfriend, the mother of little Hunchy, Braden, their 2-year-old son, 2.5-year-old son. So we are with them tonight. We're going to be discussing their time together during his walk with this. And then after that, we will finish our series with Caleb and then start with Stephanie. So thanks, guys. Yeah. So Stephanie, you and I have already talked about, but what was it? What did you think made Caleb get pulled to the addiction? And Caleb and I talked about it in the last interview, but what was your take on that? What did you think made him get pulled into something as strong as meth?
I think partial of it was probably due to the breakup. He was depressed and upset. We didn't talk. So I think that was part of it. And it didn't help with, his drinking. So I think that also had a part to play in that.
Do you agree with that, Caleb? Do you agree that your drinking, lowered your...
I mean, the first time I used, I was drunk, I was probably about 3/4 of a handle of Fireball in, so, I didn't care.
Yeah, so it lowered your inhibitions. It made you not care, yeah.
I just didn't give a crap, so...
Yeah. And Stephanie, you've already said in the interview where you and I have talked, but when did you, well, you guys, okay, and the good thing about this is we are a family. We've gone through this together. We remember things sometimes a little different. And, Caleb and I remember his starting time a little different. I think you and Caleb remember because you guys were actually split up. When he started using.
We were.
And you got back together knowing he was using, right?
No,
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know when we first
it was probably a month.
Yeah.
No, time goes by. You think it's longer when you're on meth, because you're up all the time.
It was 2 or 3 weeks.
So it was probably 2 weeks. Yeah. You can usually cut time in half when you're on meth. When you're looking back at it, not while you're actually on it, but when you're looking back on it, it seems like a longer time.
How can you know, Stephanie, how can you sit here today knowing he's not using? What's the difference?
The difference is...
okay, hold on, I'm sorry, I asked you a question prematurely. Okay, how did you know he was using before he told you he was using?
I knew something was wrong, but I didn't.
You knew something was different?
Yeah, you could tell he was a lot different from
and
the
how
time
was
that
he
we first
different?
met to whenever he started using. There was a big difference, like the weight loss. It was attitude change, and how he was very skittish about things.
He was extremely paranoid.
He was always paranoid about something, and I couldn't figure it out. But
that's called tripping.
And so
that's a good one.
There would be times where I'm in the car before I found out, and he's like, "Oh, well, there's a cop," and I'm like, "Yeah, there's a cop."
Right.
I mean,
right.
What's up? Because
so is that something? Would that trigger your thoughts now to think something if he started behaving that way?
If he started, I think now I would know. Okay, here's what the signs were when he was using. Now I know if he ever relapsed, I know exactly the signs, so I would be able to try to figure that out again.
What were your feelings different or enhanced, diminished? What were your feelings for Stephanie during that? I mean, what were what did you feel towards her during that?
When, like, before we got back together, or when we got back together?
When you started using and you guys were together, how did it change your feelings for her? Did it change your thoughts towards her?
I mean, honestly, and not saying nothing wrong, because we're good and everything, but I think the love was a good bit stronger. Like, the caring and compassion and everything
that
was
you had towards her?
both.
But you know, you made mention of that in your interview.
Because, like, I don't know.
First interview, you made
I don't know
mention
why,
of
but I mean, it's just.
so it enhanced your feelings or whatever towards her.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Special?
It made me feel special, and I get emotional.
Uh-huh. It's okay.
Hang on.
Okay. Take your time.
It was special,
Mm.
and I thought it was real.
Mm.
So it made me feel good. It made me feel that confident that I needed. Like, there's nobody else. I'm it.
Yeah.
So there's
It's still that way, guys.
it's
still that way.
It was more enhanced.
But I was gonna say, but now it's solidified. I mean, you guys are you guys don't have issues of infidelity or anything like that. But now it's just solidified. But there was emotion or something behind that.
There was more emotion going then.
But and also
right
that was
there.
before your counseling and your time of being here and raising the baby and doing a little bit of growth too.
Yeah.
So now it's not. Needing that is not to know that who you are.
Now I know that it was real, but it was a fake.
Yeah.
Type.
No, it was real.
I mean, it was real, but it wasn't like it wasn't him being sober in his right mind of saying this
but
stuff.
it was.
But I mean, it was. There was bits and pieces that I knew. Okay, that was Caleb. Like
that's Caleb.
There was some parts of Caleb that would come out past the drugs that I knew. Okay, Caleb's still there, but he's not fully there. But I could tell he was still holding on.
Oh, wide awake in there.
Now, Caleb, Stephanie went into some of the stuff with in her first interview. We have not yet done the second. We are working this out, and this is our first time, so we're working it out. But she went into talking about what it was like for her when you were here in this house. Well, here using. You know, she described some of her fears and stuff. What was it like for you?
Well, I ain't never been so paranoid in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd be taking a shower and not using nothing, and was scared my mom was about to knock on the door. You know.
And there were times I did knock on the door when you were in there 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and I'm like, okay, come on. And what was it? What was that? Huh? I know it's because you were using, but what was that like? I mean, what were your feelings and why did you pull Stephanie into it? And I'm not, you know, no judgment at all. I'm just why did you?
With
yeah.
That so I told her that I was using, and so then at first I wouldn't do it in front of her, and then as time went on, we'd be riding in the car, I'd take a shot, you know, and then, you know, I'd have to get her to, if my wrap fell off, I'd have to get her to hold my wrap, or put it back on, and I'd hold it with my armpit, but, you know, stuff like that, and then, so then it didn't matter, she never touched the drug, she never touched the needle, you know, the most she would do was put my wrap back. But
But did you feel anything about that? Did you ever feel?
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And I talked to her several times about it. You know, like when I was using, I was like, don't look over here. Just stay over there. You know, let me be, and let me shoot this. And so yeah, but
so you wanted the separation between her and the drug.
yeah,
But it didn't happen.
there's no way to do it.
No,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, it's there. You're using. So whoever's around you, whoever you're living with, and everything, they're right there with the drugs, and that's the screwed up part. Like for everybody is, you know, she loves me and she don't want to make me mad or tell me I need to stop and stuff like that. So she's not going to. She's going to let it happen. And by that point, you know, she had oh, and in your video, you texted me. Let's make that clear.
Well,
You
like I
texted.
said,
There's
some
some different memories.
You
Yeah.
text. Oh no,
Okay.
that's fact. She texted me
It's okay.
on a trip to the mountains. She was back with me that night, but I'm just kidding. But she was.
Let's not.
But so I don't remember where I was going with that.
Well, we were talking about you doing it in front of her and how you felt and how you felt asking those kind of things out of her. I mean, how did you feel about that, Stephanie? Did it make you feel like you were being loyal to him, or did it make you feel used by? I mean, what were your feelings or
It was
thoughts?
a mix in between where I felt like I had to do that because if I didn't, then what was going to happen if I didn't? And so
I'd have missed my shot.
there was inside of me, I was like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm going to get involved with it, and I don't want to get caught with him doing that, even though I didn't touch it, I didn't use
Right.
The fact is, I was still around him, so therefore, if we got pulled over, there's
Right.
me getting
It's
in
in your
trouble
yeah.
also. So there was some scary times during that, but also I didn't know what was going to happen to him. Like if I was not in the room,
Right.
I couldn't call 911 because if he locked the door, I can't get in there to him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There was a mix in between with that.
Right,
It was scary,
right.
but
You were trying.
I
to
felt like I had to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Did you lie to your parents, to us? Well, you did.
Yeah.
Because for it to have happened here, you would have had to have lied. That was scary, huh?
I didn't want anybody to know, like including friends, and family, because I was like, I don't want to involve them because I don't know what's going to happen to Caleb. I don't know how they're going to feel about me. There was a lot of emotions in that, and now I'm okay.
But I'm like 99.9% sure everybody that I come across knew.
They knew, yeah.
But
I mean, you said even your dad said something.
He could tell.
Yeah.
they could tell something was up. Like
Hell,
either
I've talked
was he
to him
starving
about it.
himself, or like what was up with him, and I just told him I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's because he's not living anywhere. He's staying with his friends and he's going to other places. I said he's just not in a good place right now, and
Yeah.
I just didn't want to come out with it, and it was kind of hard to tell my dad because I mean he's my boyfriend, so
Right.
it was really hard to do that. But
Yeah. So
And you were pregnant when we got
I
back
was.
together. Well, all right, that sounded bad.
Yeah.
That sounded bad. Hold up now.
okay.
Let's back up a little bit. It happened while we was still together.
Yeah.
And then we broke up.
And then
And then we got back together.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Just
not
put it
knowing
up.
yet.
Hold the hell up. Whew. Anywho. Next subject.
Good old Kane. What's the
That
difference
sounded bad.
now, living clean, Caleb, and having the drug to fall back on in an emotional state? I mean, what do you tell yourself when you know you've got Stephanie and Braden? You're providing for them. I mean, you guys provide for your family, but you're providing for them.
I mean,
what's the temptation like now? What's the pull now?
well, I done had my son taken away from me for it, and that's the reason why I got off. I was clean 2 weeks later. So, I mean, and I kind of said something in the last video about probably going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about it a little bit harder. I really don't think if it was in front, because I was thinking about it after I said that. I really don't think if it was in front of me that I'd use it. Because, I mean, there's that, all right, if I use it again, I'm going to get hooked again.
Right.
And then I'll lose my kid again. And that ain't happening, baby.
Yeah.
know?
And it's funny because I was speaking with someone last night, and I said, yeah, and I mean, he's been clean. I said, well, as far as we can tell, there has not been any use of it. And the guy said, they don't use it one time. They don't just relax and hit it one time. So, and I have not seen, I've not had any scares of, oh my gosh, his face is starting to sink in, or he's losing weight, or whatever.
Or the beard chunks ripped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. As long as I got a full beard, I'm good.
Yeah, because one of the things that he did, I talk about that he came home with meth mites, but it was because he actually
my hair out.
Would pull his hair out, his beard out, one by one, and so it caused sores on his face, and it was bad. So we celebrate the beard when other people say, "Oh, you need to take it off."
I look like a leprechaun.
They're like, "No,
I'm a clean leprechaun."
Yeah, he's the clean leprechaun. So
keeps my neck warm.
So do you use the baby as your sobriety, or is the temptation to use a lot less than it was a year ago? I mean, does that go? Does that subside some in time, or what?
I mean, you always know what it feels like. Mm-hmm. So, and that, besides being there and being able to stay in the same house as my kid and pay for,
Right.
provide for my kid and stuff like that.
For him, yeah.
That trumps that's the best feeling of my life, and so that second's meth, which meth is second, and then I go through problems with I had a breathing problem, and we don't know what it is, but I've had it for a while, and it started a little before meth. Mm-hmm. And meth made it worse because of my heart, mm-hmm. So I had to get on albuterol, which ain't really nothing, and it did not help, but mm-hmm. So I've been noticing the past couple of days, I've been vaping a lot more because I quit smoking, that I can't catch my breath and stuff like that. So, but a lot of that was enhanced from the drug use.
Yeah, well, and, I thought that the breathing issues came from anxiety from the drug use.
But they started before.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm saying, you say it's enhanced, and I agree with you.
Yeah, it made it worse.
The anxiety, increasing the heart rate, and you can't catch your breath. Mm-hmm. And, so
And I don't ever see my mindset getting back right after what's happened with meth. And it's just, the evils that are out there, and then you've got the other side that was pretty much a hallucination, mm-hmm. but it happened in your head. Mm-hmm.
And it was real to you.
But it was probably shadow people up in the woods, which if you never used or nothing like that, a shadow person is a pretty much figure of your imagination, and it's like just shadows playing with your head, and you think there are people out there. Mm-hmm. So, but when you use for so long, or you went on a binge or something, mm-hmm. The longest I went, I think it was 15 or 16 days. I got my car stolen that night. Anywho, you start seeing stuff. I almost got shot that night because I was so tired that I was sleepwalking, but I was still high, so I was sleepwalking, and I was trying to go in some lady's house, and she was about to shoot me. And she said, "I've got my 12 gauge. If you don't get off my porch, I'm going to kill you." And thank God I woke up right then, because
12 gauge will do, that'll wake you up.
Yeah. But I walked for about 2 minutes, and I was back asleep banging on somebody else's door. Mm-hmm. So, but stuff like, it stays in your head, and you can't ever. I mean, really, you can't ever get too right after you've experienced some stuff that you do or other people that are on meth or any drug that will do, you know, and it messes with your head a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, I know there were a lot of nights while you were using that I was up in the middle of the night, you know, because I couldn't sleep, and I would get up, and it would be a terrifying feeling about Caleb and where he is, and I would just start praying. And I know that I didn't know at the time that your main dealings were through the night, you know, but I know that was, I appreciate so much God just waking me up and giving me the opportunity to pray for you and to cover you in prayers, because that was a mess. But tonight I'm hearing some of this stuff for the first time, so that's sad and scary. And I mean, it's not scary anymore. It's good, but I wanted to get you two together and you know, I mean, put you two together. You're a couple. You're out here trying to do life right now, and you're learning and you're growing, and you both have made such great strides in growth, and we are all so proud of you guys. But you know, want to go back and look at this and see what it was like, and let people know really the truth of what we all go through whenever we're walking out a loved one with meth or on an addiction. Because while you were there trying to support him in and out of it, you still had to be here, be mama to your child, but then daughter to us, because of the situation. And it was, I think, out of everybody, you had the hardest position, because you're stuck between, I'm losing my child and I'm losing my boyfriend. And
it should have been well, it was, but not that it should have been, because it was. That was a pretty easy decision for her, and
right.
Thankful for that, because I've got some friends that it was a different situation than their parents had to fully take on responsibility. So,
and I never really felt like that was going to be the case with us.
No, because I mean, well, Stephanie never used drugs.
Right, and we knew that, and you know,
everything like that.
And we have said through this all that it wasn't
that's the most
her not loving
thing.
the baby. It was just her loyalty to you that created that scenario. So
that is also what the counselors had said, is it's very rare to see somebody that is sober walking through it, whether it's the guy or the girl,
to stay in there
fully through it and not also get on drugs.
I expected
anybody I talked to about this, you know, face to face, and they're like, so Stephanie was with you through this? And I was like, yeah, pretty much the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, so she is too? And I'm like, no. And they're like, you're lying.
Right.
I'm like, oh, no. I mean, she ain't. No.
She knows.
She was pregnant, first of all. So my kid probably wouldn't look too good when he come out. But third of all, you know, second of all, shit, I skipped one. Second of all, you know, I mean, that ain't, she won't even drink a beer or a glass of wine, you know.
It's like, not her temptation. It's not her thing.
She doesn't need to get high. She doesn't need to get drunk, you know, and that's a good thing for her. And
it is.
But
then she was also living with your family, who had to come to terms with the fact that you were using. So we were watching her. I
was still using them just with her by myself for what, 3 or 4 months. You know, she was staying with me and a buddy. You know,
right? Yeah.
You know, but I'm saying I mean, she never, and during that time, she never really said nothing to me about it, because we were just getting back together, you know, so, and then, but yeah.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys sitting and doing this, and we may do it again, you know, I mean, it's, you know, if we have more things that we need, I feel like we need to discuss, or that needs to be put out there, we'll do it again. But and if not, then we'll keep on with the individual interviews. And Caleb, next you and I are gonna one day next week talk about what you did, what happened, what meth did to you, and in the same one we're gonna talk about your life now.
Oh, okay.
Talk
I
about
was gonna say the first
yeah.
from when I started to
until
right
it
about
ended. Yeah.
well, no, to right about when me and Steph got together, because that's where the story kind of changes a little bit.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
stuff started actually getting started getting a little bit better for me, and then
yeah.
I'd probably died if I wouldn't have got away from where I was. You know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll go into that, and then and we'll just do that and see where this leads us. And then, we're in the process also at the same time of doing Stephanie's interview, so hers will come right at the very end. As soon as we get done with yours, then we'll do hers, and then I think I want to do Kevin's. Yeah. We'll all sit down with Kevin and see how it was for him as dad, stepdad. What it was like for him, because it was tough. It was tough. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to doing this again soon. God bless you and have a good night.
My ass hurts.
Mine does too.
So you need to get